Welcome to the Payoff Pitch Prospect Report. I'm Paul Valley. Last week we did a Q&A, not here, but I did a live Q&A on Twitter for some of the fans, and somebody asked me about Willie Yan, and admittedly, it caught me a little bit off guard. I had heard of him. I knew he had just gotten promoted from Frederick to Bowie, but that was basically all I knew about him. So I decided to look him up and feature him on the Prospect Report this week. He had 296 at Frederick, playing outfield. He earned a promotion up to Bowie. Bowie's hitting 286, so that's 2 hits every 7 at bats. If you want to break it down a little bit, he's a solid, if not underwhelming, prospect. This is a guy who's never walked more than 13 times in any season, collegiate or pro. He's 1 for 6 in stolen bases this year. Somebody that plays the outfield, you would want him to have a little bit more speed than that, be a better base runner. Very raw prospect, Willie Yan. You know, he's hitting well enough. He's got a few RBIs in his first handful of games at Bowie. He's somebody to keep an eye on, but not somebody who's going to wow you in the stat box. So somebody to keep an eye on, but for me, underwhelming. Not one of the guys who I think is going to be a huge part of the rebuild. But hey, we've been wrong before. People didn't think Trey Mancini was going to be a big part of this ball club either. Now he's the best player on the team. So we'll see what happens with Willie Yan. But I did want to get a little bit of information out there about him, since I was caught a little bit off guard myself when somebody asked me about him last week. Next, I want to talk about, because he's really popping back up on the radar, former first-round pick Hunter Harvey. The Orioles, if you recall, in spring training, Hunter Harvey was hitting 98 on the radar gun. He got hit around a little bit, but that arm is special. So the Orioles send him back down to Bowie. He goes 2-5 in 11 starts with a 6.12 ERA. I had Adam McInturf on the show for the first time back on May 1st, and he came back on again right after the draft to talk about some of the draft picks. And he said that he saw Hunter Harvey as being more of a reliever. Well, Bowie seems to be going in that direction as well now, as Harvey's last 3 appearances have all been exclusively out of the bullpen. He's gone 3 innings in each appearance, and he has flourished in that role. His last 3 outings, 9 innings pitched, just 1 hit allowed, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, and a big fat 0 in the earned run category. Has not allowed a single run over his last 3 outings. Touching 100 with that fastball. He's got that devastating curveball to mix in with it, and a little bit of a change up there. Hunter Harvey really starting to show his value as a reliever, and I think that that's ultimately the role that's going to keep him in the major leagues the longest. So it's really nice to see him down at the minor league level having a really nice bounce back after struggling to start the year. So Hunter Harvey, the reliever, seems to be making some really great strides. The Bowie Baysox in general, they had 4 All-Star representatives for their league. Zach Lauer, age 23, he's 8-4 with a 2.03 ERA after he went 6 innings last night against Harrisburg and gave up 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. He's pitched well at every single level. Again, we note that 2.03 ERA. He has never had failure at the minor league level, so that's somebody to keep an eye on, a big lefty for the Orioles. More crafty than a power arm, but a guy that you want to look at. Alex Wells, the 22-year-old out of Australia, former minor league pitcher of the year in the organization. He's 5-1 with a 1.90 ERA in 11 starts for the Baysox, also an All-Star this year. And then position players, Rylan Bannon, who came over in that trade for Machado last year, along with Yusniel Diaz and Josh Rogers, hitting 273 with 4 home runs. He's 23 years old, plays third base for the Baysox. Between Orioles and Dodgers affiliates last year, he hit 22 home runs. So that's a guy with a big bat. Power's not showing up as much this year, but as we get into the hotter months, it could translate more. But he's having himself a pretty solid season and earned an All-Star nod. And then Mason McCoy, who got called up from Frederick after hitting 379 there, 24 years old, hitting 332 at Bowie. So still swinging a hot stick even after the promotion. He's a middle infielder. These are guys who are All-Stars for Bowie, who we could see getting promoted maybe later this year, early next year up to AAA, and then could help the big league ball club in the next couple of years. Still young enough that you can consider him prospects, though. McCoy kind of pushing it at 24 years old, the oldest of the bunch. But, these are guys that you can be excited about and that, people should really be paying attention to. So other than that, that's really all I have for the prospect report this week. Next week, we'll have some more players we're going to talk about. I'll probably talk about a little bit more about Keegan Aiken, who's been struggling in the last few starts for Norfolk. So not really able to provide the Orioles with what they're looking for to get some help at the major league level. But that's for next week. For this week, again, Hunter Harvey pitching really well. He got 4 All-Stars out of Bowie, and that's not even including Hunter Harvey. So until next week, thanks for tuning into the Prospect Report, and we'll talk to you soon.